folks on the Zoom call, Andy's going to be able to interrupt Mike and ask questions. So feel free to hop in on the chat, and at the appropriate time, Andy will be able to interject a question into Mike. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce Mike Lannen from Eternity Marketing here in Burlington. I've known Mike for probably 5 or 6 years. We met at a network event and instantly kind of brewed up a friendship and have collaborated on a lot of things. He's got a lot of great skills. I'm really psyched for him to be here. I don't know anything about this program, so I'm going to be learning with you guys, but I'm really interested in it. And then that session he's going to be doing on the 24th at AI, I've seen it twice, and both times I learn even more stuff, and I'm going to be here on the 3rd time writing more notes on that and how great it is. But let's give a quick round of applause to Mike from Eternity. Thank you, Mike.
Alrighty, does it look like that mic's still coming through? Sound-wise, good?
Sounds good.
Right on. Okay, excellent. Just wanted to make sure. So I'm Mike Lannen with Eternity. What I would love to do real quick, because we have a tight knit group here today, is just real quick, going to go around the room, 60 seconds, it's your name, who you're with, and what you're hoping to get out of this presentation. Start with you, Simeon.
I guess to me, CVOEO micro-business development program. And although we don't really work with a lot of nonprofits through our program, we do encounter some folks, so it's always nice to be able to have and information.
Right on.
I'm Amy Robinson, and I'm the business advisor for the Northern Forest Center, which is a nonprofit, and I help with product businesses in 4 different states. And we actually do a campaign called Feel Good Heat, which might be interested in the opportunity.
That's great. Awesome. Thanks for coming. Oh yeah, good call. I'll just walk over here.
Very Cross, with Artistry Community Art Center, which is down a little bit south of Vermont. Eternity has developed our website, and so Mike invited me up. I'd love to learn more about free money.
Awesome. Thank you.
My name is Andrew Christensen. My wife and I run the King Street Laundry, which is a laundromat in Burlington that is a community hub. We are in the early phases of forming a 501c3. Haven't yet hit send on the application, but hoping to do so because we do a broad assortment of community engagement initiatives, some poverty relief stuff for unhoused folks, workshops, financial planning, and professional development workshops and seminars in our space. So this is well aligned with what we're trying to learn here. So anything we can do to help broadcast our message is certainly help.
Awesome. Right on. Thank you. You're next.
Thank you. Natalie Glenn. I work for Cathedral Square. We're a nonprofit, and Eternity does our website, and we've had a great experience. We've been approved for Google Ad Grants, but I have no idea what to do next, so I'm excited to learn more.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm Sonia Paulson. I'm with United Way of Northwest Vermont. I'm specifically a regional volunteer mobilizer in our community impact team, and so we're really trying. I'm interested in going to this and learning more about it to see what we can do in terms of marketing volunteer opportunities to help support the nonprofits that we work with.
Alrighty. And you're up.
Oh yeah. So in addition to my day job, I am also the director of the Great Ice Winter Festival in North Hero, and it's a 501c3. So I'd love to figure out how we can bring in more visitors to that.
All right. So many amazing nonprofits that I've not even heard of.
Hi, I'm Mia Kriebel. I work for the Chamber of Commerce in Okemo Valley, and I just started a few weeks ago, so really just here to learn a lot more. We work with a lot of local businesses and a lot of nonprofits, and so here to learn about the intersection of community development and the possibilities for marketing.
Right on. Thank you.
And my name's River, and I'm here to learn more about ad grants for my dad's nonprofit, who helps with medical aid in Ukraine and teaching medical skills to people on the front line.
Pretty cool. All right. Did I miss anybody?
Do I do it?
Yeah, for the online folks, I would say pop your name, organization, and what you want to get out of the session. Thank you. Alrighty, hopping right into it. So today's agenda, I'm gonna spend just a minute chatting about Eternity and what we do and the types of clients that we like to work with. We're gonna talk top level on what a Google ad is, just to kind of level the playing field on what Google Ads is in general, and then hop into what the Google Ad grant is that lets you take advantage of using Google Ads as a nonprofit, and then what you can do with it, and also I think even more importantly, what you can't do with it. There are some strings attached with the $10,000 a month that Google gives you. And then some tips and just expectations of how to manage that campaign once they give it to you, once they give you that grant, and to ensure that they do not take it away from you because they can do that. And I'll talk more about that. And then what's next and some action items you can take after that. A little bit about me, myself and my much better half. Over there, I'm a husband, a dad, Lego nerd, a fanatic about AI and anything that's like smart home related. I also just like to spread awareness for mental health. I used to say I suffer, but I've switched it more to thrive with ADHD, OCD, anxiety disorder. So this on the inside, I'm kind of like screaming inside, but just gotten really good at pretending that I'm not. I started the firm about 24 years ago now in my dorm room at Champlain College. The web was pretty new back in the year 2000, so many businesses, but especially nonprofits, did not have a website, and Champlain didn't have a website design major, but I knew I wanted to go into that field. So I just started contacting literally like physically door to door and said, hey, you don't have a website nonprofit? Would you like one? I'll build you one for free. Just spread the good news of Eternity to others down the road. And it took a couple of years, but that then eventually spread to those board of directors on those nonprofits working someplace else. And I was able to stop eating ramen noodles for 3 square meals as a starving college student. And today, we're a team of 12, all in Vermont. Nonprofits make up the majority of our client base, and we work with many nonprofits across the state and across the nation, but also business professionals and businesses as well. So I always say this, feel free to take notes during the session, but if you struggle like myself with like trying to stay present and pay attention and take notes, at the end, you can send me a text. I'll send you the whole entire presentation with all the meeting notes. You're not signed up for a single list of any kind, no spam or anything like that. And please interrupt me. So if I start going down a rabbit hole on something, don't feel like you need to wait until the end. I have some slides in between to purposely stop to ask questions. But if you have something on the tip of your tongue, just wave your hand or throw something preferably soft to get my attention. All right, gonna start out on a light note. Who wants to take a guess at the best place to hide a dead body? Any takers? I've heard everything. Yeah, you can't answer, Jay. I hear that one many times. That is a good place. For today, it's page 2 of Google. Folks don't typically go to page 2 or even scroll past a couple of swipes on their phone nowadays. And what that means is about 95% of traffic for someone doing a search on Google goes to those results that are on page 1, and about 75% of that traffic goes to the things that are in the top 3. As a society, for better or for worse, we kind of have the attention span of a goldfish. I think a goldfish has a slightly better one. So if you're not present, if you're not in the top results, you're likely not going to get clicked on, and Google Ad Grants is a great way to show up on the top of those results for a nonprofit. So what are Google Ads? Basically, that's a dictionary definition there. I'm not going to read that verbatim, but when you do a Google Ad search, the top 4 things that you see on Google are an ad, and Google's always changing how that works. But now, as you like scroll on a mobile device or a tablet or even desktop, the pages are actually kind of going away. You can just keep scrolling forever. It's like an infinite scroll experience for search results. So there'll be a set of 4 ads then some organic results, which are the non-paid results in Google, and then more ads, and then organic, and then more ads. Google's in this to win it and make money. They make their billions of dollars with a B. 93% of that comes from Google Ads, the businesses that are paying to use it. So whenever I hear like, oh, people don't click on ads, why would I want to do ads for my business or for my nonprofit? The proof's in the pudding with all the money that Google makes, most of it from Google Ads. And kind of what that looks like in what's called a SERP, or a search engine result page. Basically, it's just what Google result looks like. Those top results are paid. In the nonprofit Google Ad grant side, you show up inside those results, even though you're not paying with real money. You get monopoly money, basically, from Google. And then those results below those paid are organic. So that has to do more with the build of your website, the content on your website, and hundreds of other factors, which may or may not be easy for a nonprofit to do. If their site wasn't built by a large agency, or it's just a really small site or brand new, it can be hard to show up in there organically. But in the Google Ads side, you can really target down exactly what you want to show up for, what keywords you want to be present for, and with the Google Ad grant, not pay any cash to Google to show up in those paid results. And then just some other examples of kind of the anatomy of a SERP listing. So the title and the description, this is more relevant to organic results, but also inside paid results. Kind of the nifty thing about Google Ads is you can really specifically hone down to exactly what you want that title and description to be inside that search engine result, where with the organic results that are more relevant to what's actually on your website, Google will take what you tell it as a suggestion, but it will mostly just put whatever it thinks makes sense to put there, which is not always great. With ads, you can get really specific to exactly how you want that to show, to what region, different demographics based off of their search history. It's really cool stuff that you do not get as much control over in the normal organic side of Google. And then just some other examples of how ads look in the wild. As time has gone on, they've looked kind of like less and less like ads, and that's not a mistake. Google wants people to click on them. Way back in the day, we used to have a right-hand column listing of ads and a top-level listing of ads. At one point, they had like a yellow kind of highlight around them. What they found is folks were kind of becoming banner blind to just scrolling past those ads and not clicking on them. So I think as we evolve and as we get smarter and more aware with how the internet works, I don't want to say Google's trying to trick people, but they're more so trying to ensure that their billions with a B keeps continuing to happen. All right, so quick raise of hands. Who has used Google Ads? And by that, I mean not just as a consumer, but in the Google Ad management software, like built out an ad campaign or been involved in it in any kind of fashion. Right on. So kind of went through like the wizard process and started it, but kind of, yeah, life got the best of you. Okay, fair enough. Simeon?
So it was years ago, their rendition. Setting the campaign, identifying how much money you would be putting for campaign.
Yep, right on. So kind of went through that initial process, set it up, but then kind of put it on pause.
I think it just died very fast.
Okay, fair enough. Right on. Had kind of like a credit on file and then just delete those credits. Right on. Anybody else want to share a story of their Google Ads? All right, fair enough. Any questions on that kind of top level of Google Ads before we dive a little deeper? Yes.
I'm just curious, what is motivation?
I get asked that question a lot. So what's Google's motivation to give out $10,000 per month of ad spend? And that's not like a misquote. $10,000 of ad spend is just put inside your Google account, and you as a nonprofit can use that. My opinion is that that's how Google gets away with not paying nearly as much as we do in taxes, because every single one of those is a $10,000 a month write-off times millions of nonprofits, and it's a mutually beneficial system for them. Whether that's like based in reality on their side, I'm not sure, but that's my take on it. But it's a win-win because nonprofits get $10,000 a month.
Does Google actually get deducted for contributing to nonprofits?
That's my understanding, but I will not pretend to be an accountant or lawyer in any way. I don't think they're doing it out of the kindness of their hearts, unfortunately. Yeah, I think they changed it as well. Their slogan used to be like, yeah, do no evil, and it's something slightly different now that makes you question. Yeah, like a little bit, just a scotch. Jay?
I would think it's a continuation.
So that's a really good question, and sometimes like misunderstanding too. It was for me when I was first learning about this. So a common question I'll get from like a business too, say there's a business and a nonprofit trying to bid on the exact same keyword. So Google Ads, in essence, is an auction. You say how much you're willing to pay per month and how much you're willing to pay per click every time someone clicks on one of those ads. There is a very high chance of overlap of a business paying Google real money versus like the nonprofit using that, just, I call it monopoly money, fake money. The way that they get around that is your ads never run at the exact same time as a nonprofit that a business does, and they'll never compete against each other or drive up that auction. So it's like I'm trying to think of an analogy. It just never competes. And you will not show up at the exact same times, like I said, with a business, in that you might not show up in all the prime time spots when people are searching for that particular service, but really kind of depends on if there's a ton of businesses competing for the same keywords as you or not. Oh, right on. Any other questions? All right. Hopping into the Google Ad grant. So here's some bullets of kind of the top level of a Google Ad grant. It's specifically targeted towards nonprofits. My understanding, but I need to triple check this at the end of this presentation, that it's only for 501c3s. So there's other types of nonprofit setups, but every documentation on Google's site specifies that it's just for 501c3 charitable nonprofits. If you have that tax setup, I've never seen a nonprofit not get accepted with that particular setup. And they give you $10,000 per month forever. A lot of times I'll chat with folks and they think, oh, $10,000, it must be like a grant, a single grant of, hey, here's $10,000, and then it will just quickly, die a slow death. This is $10,000 a month forever, as long as you comply with a couple of things that they assign you to do, which I'll go into a little more detail. So why would you want to set this up for a nonprofit? Well, the easiest answer to that is to increase site traffic. If whether your site is brand new or it's been around for 10 years, you can only get so much traffic organically, the non-paid style of traffic, from those types of results. The paid side of things allows you to show up in more times where your site might not normally be ranking. You can also target different states. So say your site is ranking on Google really well organically because your site is in Vermont, you're located in Vermont, your content is really kind of Vermont heavy and centric, but you want to try and get more traffic from New Hampshire or New York or just nationally. Google Ads lets you specify exactly what states you want your ads to show up on, where that person is sitting. So if that human is sitting inside California and you want to target people in California, even though your site and the physical location is not there, it gives you a chance to show up when that person's physically sitting in California, which is a lot harder to do organically.
by like county and various state offices, or is that?
Yes-ish. So it has the ability to do that. You can pop in zip codes, you can pop in counties. It just depends on how much search volume is happening in that area. So if you were to say like only target like just Franklin County, and you can do other demographic targeting too, like just a certain age range, just a certain search history, kind of keyword persona basically of that person. For better or for worse, it's not going to spend that full $10,000 a month campaign. I also don't see every nonprofit fully spending that $10,000 campaign because it's based off of search volume. And if there are not people searching for that or enough, there's not going to be enough clicks to kind of tick through that $10,000 a month. But that is not a big issue if it just goes through $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month of that monopoly money. It's still more traffic to your site.
Just to clarify, so the $10,000 that's like a credit that is produced through the clicks that people use when they see your ad.
Yeah, exactly. So the question being like that $10,000, think of it like a pay-as-you-go phone. If that's the best analogy I can think of, where you're getting like 10,000 minutes, and you get to use those minutes throughout the month, up to $10,000 of them, and then the next month that resets to 10,000 again. So it doesn't like roll over. It's like $10,000 every single month, and every time someone clicks on one of those ads, it deducts from that $10,000.
Can you get a sense of like what's a click cost? Are we talking pennies or are we talking dollars?
Yeah, no, it's a very common question. So I wish some of them were pennies. Like back in the day, like 15, 20 years ago, there were some like below $1 clicks. Those aren't as common anymore. Like you can occasionally see some like 50-cent clicks, but most of them are $1 and more, depending on who else in the nonprofit side is bidding on that, the auction system itself. I often get asked, like, how much should we spend? How much should we put towards it? It's kind of based off of the Google ecosystem itself. They set some base rates, and then the rest of it is mostly determined by who else is bidding on particular keywords. With our nonprofits, especially since they're usually targeting like a more narrow location, whether it's a particular county or just Vermont, and a pretty specific like niche thing, they're not seeing like lawyers, as an example, could see upwards of like $80 to $100 per click. Like I'm not exaggerating here, like $100 every time someone clicks on one of those ads. But it's because lawyers make a lot of money and like to spend a lot of money on advertising. If they land one $50,000 retainer client, that's worth it for them, and Google knows that. Nonprofits, usually it's between like $1 and like $4 per click. The base setup of Google Ads limits it to $2 per click. So you can define how much you want to spend for particular keywords and for particular campaigns, and Google limits that with the grant accounts initially at a max of $2 per click. And mostly because they don't want people going inside there and saying, well, I've got $10,000, I'll spend like $1,000 a click, just to, get up there. You can't do that. You can go past that $2 per click limit after setting up what are called conversions on your website. Basically, a conversion is a way of just tracking an action that someone's taking. So filling out a volunteer form, making a donation, your contact form, watching a video. Once you set up those conversions, you can make a switch on the Google account and let Google determine how much that cost per click will be. So you kind of take the control out of you doing that. And then if it finds that no one's bidding on that keyword at a particular time, it might throw like $15 of your ad spend at that click and show your ad. And that's typically how we will set up our own campaigns we're doing for nonprofits, and show them how to do that as well, just to spend the most of that monopoly money. Yes.
You had mentioned that not in month, that where attorneys come in and help improve their SEO and improve other parts of the website to get more traffic to ours. That whole thing out.
Yeah, there's a couple of techniques that we will take, more so on specifically inside the Google Ads system and building out more campaigns. So think of like every service that you offer as a unique campaign, and then setting up ads for that particular service. So when people are searching, for I can't think of anything specific off the top of my mind, but they're searching for like a very particular service. You don't want something completely unrelated to what that person's searching for. And the more of those that you build, the more likelihood that you'll actually be able to spend that full spend. Any other questions? Any questions from the Zoomers? Okay, fair enough. Yes, Jay.
Share how much great opportunity this is around the marketing department. I can provide this. And that is good. It's a really nice thing.
Right on. So yeah, Jay was just saying that about $1,500 a month for their ad spend, actual money, unlike monopoly money. So it's just a great opportunity for nonprofits to get that $10,000 bucks. All right, what can you do with this Google Ad grant? So specifically, it is just for what are called search ads, or I will often call them text ads. So people that are on google.com and actually performing a search, those first 4 listings that are ads that show up, those are called search ads. Google has many different types of ads in their wheelhouse. So text ads, the most popular, the most common, it's the first type of ad that they created back in 96 or 97 when it came out. But there are other types of ads that we are, as consumers, have been battled with forever. So display ads are one that we're used to seeing on other websites. So away from google.com, you might see banner ads in the right-hand side of a page, or if you ever have stumbled upon like recipe.com and you're just trying to find a recipe for like an apple pie, but then it's just the story of like grandma and then 1,000 ads that pop up to just get, those are display banner ads. Some websites, website owners and kind of clickbait websites like that will overly use the display of those said banners. So people are paying to be inside those display banners, and companies like recipe.com, they get a portion of those clicks for hosting those display banner ads on their websites. Display banner ads are really great for brand awareness, messaging, having like a nice visual that goes along with an ad. Unfortunately, Google Ad Grants does not allow you to do anything with those display banner ads. The other type is video ads. So YouTube, the #2 search engine only to Google itself, allows you to do video ads. Again, another great way to do visuals or like a campaign or a gala that you're trying to run. Unfortunately, you cannot do those with Google Ad Grant. So what we do recommend, though, if you get accepted for a Google Ad Grant and you're getting $10,000 a month in free search ads, to try and convince the board of directors or the committee or whomever that is to put a small, even just like a fraction of like a couple $100 a month towards display or video. And you can run those simultaneously. So you could have these search ads running for $10,000 of free money, and then some display banner ads running with different types of messaging or what's called remarketing, an ad that follows you after you've visited a site. If you're driving all this extra traffic for free to your website, it'd be great to be able to follow that person around for a couple of days or weeks or months at a frequency that is not insane. So like out of the gate, Google's like, just show that ad every single waking moment. And if they've gone to LL Bean, you will get remarketed that pair of boots like until the day you're buried, you know, with those boots. You can set a frequency on that, and we typically recommend keeping that pretty low, like 1 to 2 times per day that they might see your ad, and not 11 billion times per day. But you don't need to throw all of your marketing budget. I'm very, you know, empathetic that nonprofits want to put most of their money towards helping the individuals that they serve. But you could start with something like a $250 a month, you know, even less, just to get some display and remarketing banners going on there. At the same time, you're driving all that free traffic to you. Any questions on that? All right, how to manage and kind of what to expect. So some quick bullet points there. Sometimes I've heard this from nonprofits that, well, I got the grant, I got accepted, I'm gonna hop into the Google Manager and just kind of write a couple ads, direct them to my website, and then my job is done, right? I could just sign out of Google Ads, and that $10,000 a month will just spend itself, and Google's never gonna take away that money. Nope. So Google has some strings attached to things. You need to manage the campaign at some level, and they have an entire list of what you have to do to kind of stay within compliance. And I can share that when I follow up with the presentation. But it goes through a list of things. Some of the top levels are having a high click-through rate. So click-through rate is basically the percentage of the people that see your ad, like the impressions of that ad, versus who actually clicks it and goes into your website. If you have a really low click-through rate, meaning that your ad is showing up a bunch when people are searching and no one's clicking on it, and that click-through rate is below 5%, every 90 days they do this kind of automated audit of your campaign. And if they see things like that click-through rate, or the last time you logged into Google Ads was like 3 months ago, and all these kind of compliant list of things, they will take away that grant, and it's very difficult to get it back. So I have the piggy bank up there because think of it kind of like an allowance that you got as a kid. As long as you kept your room clean, vacuumed, did the dishes, you got your $5 a week or whatever, you know, it was. If you did not do it, you did not get that allowance. It's basically like a $10,000 a month allowance. My recommendation, because a lot of times I'll get asked, like, how much time are we going to be spending on this? Like, it's great if we get this $10,000 a month grant, but who internally at the nonprofit is going to manage it and how many hours? My minimum, and this is kind of like a bare minimum recommendation, is 1 to 2 hours per week. So you can be writing new ads, making sure your click-through rate is high enough, taking a look at reports to see like what people are actually doing. It's great that traffic came to your site, but you want to be able to track the effectiveness of it. Did they actually come to your site and stay there for more than 5 minutes? Did they watch a donor video? Did they make a donation? All those things have to be set up. And Google helps in like 0% with this Google Ad grant. The paid side of things, they will like keep calling you forever to help you best spend your ad spend as a business, which I feel is kind of like counterintuitive, because why would one of them on the other end of the phone try to give you a way to spend less money on ads? So, but on the nonprofit side, they really don't help in any way beyond that like somewhat gracious $10,000 a month to help you set it up. So it's not impossible to do all of this yourself. I know I'm quite biased at standing up here, but highly recommend working with someone, even if it's not us, that has set up Google Ads before, that has experience in the things that you need to do. Otherwise, you might spend that time applying for the grant, getting it, trying to do some of the initial setup and all the connectors just to see Google take that grant away. And then it's not impossible to get it back, but it can take months of going through and basically begging for that money back. What else did I not hit on? Just writing the ads and connecting all that stuff together, like initially getting it all set up If you have never set up ads before, you might see as much as like a 40-hour, like a full-on kind of week of dedicating that time, or spreading it out if you were to take it on yourself, because there's a lot of components to writing the ads, connecting it to the right landing page on your website, setting up the reporting. I don't mean this to sound in any way like a scare tactic, but more of just like an awareness, factor, in that it's not just click this application, get accepted, $10,000 a month, and then just a bunch of people come to my site. Any questions on that? Yes.
Well, what, like the right, but how it be kind of updated is, well, let's say I write a really good ad and people love it. It's that, and I don't want to change it for that. Google kind of take that and I'm not updating the ad.
Yeah, so the question being, like, you have an ad that you've written, it looks like it's performing well, but you're not making any changes to that particular ad. Will that be like held against you? Yeah. So usually no. So the hierarchy of Google Ads is you have a campaign. That's kind of like the umbrella. And then you have what's called an ad group. Below that, consider it kind of like a subfolder, if you will. And then within that ad group, you have an ad itself, like what people actually see at google.com. Within an ad group, subfolder, you typically want to have around 3 ads. I think in Google Ad Grants, you have to have at least 2. Otherwise, the ads just never show up. So 2 to 3 ads per ad group. And that allows you to kind of do some A/B testing. So they may have just subtly different headlines. When you're building that ad in the back end, way back, you used to be able to just put like one headline, one description, a link to a website. That ad is built. Can't do that anymore. So you have to have 15 headlines, 4 descriptions, and then a link to your website. And you might be asking, like, why 15 headlines? That seems crazy. They give you 30 characters per headline. You put 15 of those in. And then based off of what that person searched and typed into Google, it will display the best version of that ad using Google's insanely magical AI, nobody knows exactly how it works, version of that ad. And over time, you can see this particular phrasing, this particular call to action did not perform as well. It didn't get as many clicks. It didn't get as many donations. And you can go in, remove those, and add more that are similar to the ones that performed the best. So it can quickly become like a part-time job managing that well. We have seen some nonprofits just lightly go in there like once a month and make a couple of changes and just kind of flies under the radar. So they're not necessarily going to take it away if you don't do all of those things. But yeah, does that help answer that? Yeah.
Question from the chat is whether you can pause your campaign and avoid being flagged or not.
It's a great question that I don't know the answer to right now, but I can figure that out. I would think if it's paused, it would be fine for a little while, but if you waited like a year or 2, they're eventually going to flag that as an inactive account as you kind of not doing your chores during that time. Any other questions? Okay. All right, so what's next? First step you want to do is head on over to google.com/grants. That has a ton more information on there about your ability to get accepted, what to expect. They have tools and tips on there, resources, and most importantly, the application that you can go through. I believe, does anybody here have TechSoup or know what TechSoup means? So I'm pretty sure that's part of their application process now. So you have to be part of TechSoup. TechSoup is a nonprofit kind of like manager, if you will, where if you're part of TechSoup, you can get deep discounts on all their software, like a very deeply discounted version of Microsoft Office Suite, amongst a ton of other tools, a fraction of the cost of retail. But I think that Google is using that now as a kind of a quick entry point to, this is a real nonprofit, they're legitimate. To go through TechSoup, you have to pop in all of your tax ID forms and jump through a bunch of hoops. But it also gives you the ability to get deep discounts on a bunch of other software. Takes about a month. So I've seen sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months to hear back from Google after you fill that out. If you can imagine, a bunch of nonprofits that know about this are applying all of the time to try and see if they can get accepted, and Google has to go through that. Yes?
Are you aware? Humans review the application?
If I had to take, so I don't know, I'll be very honest, I have no idea. But if I had to guess based off of like how a lot of their other stuff works, is it gets filtered through AI to kind of red flag any, and then put the rest through a human. A human will eventually reach out to you. Seems weird to say a human, but a human will eventually reach back out to you that you got approved, and to kind of cross some T's and dot some I's and activate the grant part of the account. Shameless plug, you of course can hire maternity to help you with this at many different levels. So we've helped some clients that had a budget of $500, like one time, that's it. That doesn't mean that we can manage your campaign every single month, but maybe help you get set up with the initial ad creation process, or some tips and tricks, or cheat sheets on this is what you should do month to month, all the way up to, you know, in like the thousands for like a year's worth of management, writing the ads, doing all the reporting, meeting with that nonprofit on a quarterly basis to show them what the report is, how it works. But you do not need to hire us. Like it'd be great if you hired us, but if today 5 of you go do the grant, do it all yourself, I'm happy. If 3 of those people hire us, I'm like really, really happy. But I really just want to spread the word of this, because I'm surprised about, I would say 2 out of 3 nonprofits that I chat with have no idea that this Google ad grant exists, or they think it's just for like one $10,000 shot, and that's it. Some other things to mention that can kind of help with this, and just a plug to my next presentation on AI, you can use ChatGPT to do a lot of this stuff for you. Has anybody here ever used ChatGPT? Couple. Who is using the free version? And who's using the $20 a month paid version? Okay, just Jay. So think of the free version as like an iPhone without an app store. And the paid version of ChatGPT is like the iPhone that we know, with the app store, the ability to connect to lots of different tools. It's a lot better than like the dumb phones of the past, like flip phones. The $20 a month version allows you to do things like build your own custom bots. You can train it on your own data, put in a bunch of your blogs, a bunch of headlines, a bunch of your messaging, and say, write me 15 headlines for a Google ad campaign. Write me the descriptions, update the landing page copy for the website that this is going to go to. So even if you don't really have experience with ad writing or optimization, you can use ChatGPT to kind of level up with this and take on a lot of that stuff without having to hire an agency to do it. Any other final Q&A, things you want me to chat about? Anything that I'm missing, anything in the live Zoom questions? Yes.
Are you drop many experience or observations that nonprofits who have gone this route and groups that they of using the Google efforts?
Yeah. Yeah, so the question being kind of case studies or just experience of nonprofits applying for it and how it's helped them.
Yeah.
So from the ones, though this is more of like a biased opinion, from the ones that we've managed, they're mostly spending that full $10,000 a month grant, which means just dramatically increasing extra traffic to their site, but also just being able to build awareness to locations that they are just not showing up in Google for. So just kind of hands down, if you're not doing a Google ad grant and you're a nonprofit, you're missing out on infinite, extra traffic to your site and awareness, and being able to track a lot of different things. Google, for better or for worse, knows everything and anything about us. There's this lovely little website called adsettings.google.com. And I think it's I can't remember if it's plural ads or ads, but anyway, I can put that in the follow-up. But you log in with your Google account and it presents you with a full profile on everything that it knows about you. So it shows you your age, your weight, your marital status, your orientation, everything that you can possibly think of, because every time you do a Google search, every time you go get coffee at a particular coffee shop, it knows you've gone to that coffee shop physically. It knows every single thing about you. So you can track and target all that stuff inside Google Ads, which is just very difficult, near impossible to do outside of a Google Ads system, and most nonprofits don't have access to that.
So is Google Ads connected to Google Analytics, or would it show separately your organic results as well as your ads results?
Really good question. So are Google Ads and Google Analytics connected or the same? They are, of course, both Google, but like kind of church and state, completely separate applications. However, inside Google Analytics, once you connect it into Google Ads, it takes like 2 clicks. You can track inside Google Analytics how much traffic came to your site organically, meaning like the non-paid, and how much came in from Google Ads, and show inside a report the Google Ads generated 5 donations or 10 applications, and organically, XYZ.
Yes. Are there, we're talking about saying within the ad requirements and without any flag taken off.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of more that pay is not criteria, do it within 30 days, flag or able?
Yeah, great question. So basically, are there any kind of like heads up that you're going to get your campaign grant removed? And there are. So the email that's on file for that ad manager account will get notified. There's also a website that they give you that shows kind of like a report card, for lack of a better explanation, that shows that you have enough ads created, that the click-through rate is at a certain level, that you've actually logged in, just to show that you haven't like fallen asleep at the wheel. And that allows you to keep track of that even really proactively before they send you kind of a scare letter of like, you're going to lose your allowance if you don't do all this stuff. And that might take a lot of dedication immediately to get that done before it runs out.
Can you use Google Ads for a donation campaign? Your donation page, does that make sense to do? Is it look down on it as a preferred way to do it? And are there any case studies where organizations have improved their donation?
Right on. The most number one asked question. So can you use Google Ads for donation campaigns? Yes and no. So it's just for search ads, the Google Ad grant. And as much as I would like human beings to type into Google, like, where is there a nonprofit that I can donate to? It's just not a high search volume word, meaning that there's not going to be an ad that can show for that. So it's not the best for that being like the primary reason. However, it's driving so much extra traffic to your site for someone looking for that particular service or term that as long as your donation button is very clear on there, it's bringing more people to that than before. You can also put components inside the ads, not to get like too in the weeds on Google Ads, but there's things called site links, little tiny links below the ad, below like the main heading and the description. And you can put things in there like donate, support us, our story, volunteer. But if someone's doing a search and it's there, it brings them right to the donation page. We typically don't see this like giant, call everybody, this is amazing, increase in donations from Google Ad grants directly, but it can also only track so much inside those reporting systems. Somebody might click on an ad and then go to like a completely different computer that they're not logged into, hear somebody else say, I should do a donation, get something inside the mail, and then they actually fill out that thing in the mail to make the donation. Doesn't mean though that there wasn't like a lift in awareness from the Google Ad Grant campaign, but not the best out the gate for that. But paired with a display campaign and a video campaign can just be a great way to get that messaging across in a more visual fashion.
Would it ever make sense to do that at very make sense try some donation?
Yeah, so the question being like timing wise, like when's like the best time to run a donation campaign? Yes, and no. So the kind of the pro and con of Google Ads, it's not great if you wanted to do something for like a very short period of time, for like a week or 2 weeks or even like a month, because Google takes so long to kind of ramp up and get put inside the system and track everything. If it was for like a 3-month, kind of endeavor for trying to do things, and that's like your peak time for donations, you could have a campaign running during that time that you can tell it, put most of my like free Monopoly money towards donation stuff right now and less towards something else. Every campaign that you build, you can specify you have up to $329 per day. That's the cap. Sounds crazy, but $329 per day is the max you can put on like a single campaign or multiples. So when you're building it out, you just want to make sure that you kind of build out that weight, if you will, towards one campaign versus another. It will not. So in the campaign, when you build it, you can put, say you put $50 per day, just kind of start a campaign. You can log in there at any moment, any day, and see how much has been spent in the day so far. And you can adjust that daily if you wish. I don't recommend doing that, but it gives you the ability to change that whenever you like.
This might be a little off topic, but it sounds like nonprofits could use a system with tying their strategic plan for their strategy to the Google Ads, which means they would have to plan kind of out like their year or at least 6 months,
Yep.
And then work with that so that it made sense and it was productive rather than just jumping in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so strategizing like with the different committees that make up, and depending on how big the nonprofit is, if there's multiple different committees in charge of different campaigns and initiatives, it'd be great to pull all those people in. So it's not just one person, and usually it's like communications or marketing that's doing all the Google ads and not necessarily chatting with the rest. Yeah, it's a really great point. Just because it's $10,000 of free money doesn't mean you should just like set it up and hope that people come to the site. Anything else? Anything in the live? Great. Yes. That's it. So like it's basically like a pay-as-you-go kind of phone. Like it'll just stop working. It'll stop showing those ads. That usually, if you tell it spend X, if you tell Google spend X amount during a month, it will just spend that amount during the month, and it spreads it out automatically for you, like day to day. And by that I mean your ad will not show up every single time someone's doing a search. There could be someone actively looking for your services, and it's 3 o'clock right now, and they go to Google, type in that search. Your ad is not going to show up every single time. And more like in the business side of things, we'll get asked from clients like, I just did a Google search, my ad's not there. Like, why isn't it showing up at this exact second? Think about how terrible it would be if you were using like real cash money and you said, I'm going to spend, $100 a day, and it showed to everybody doing a search, and it was like $10 a click for that particular business. It could blast through that daily spend within before lunchtime, and then your ads would just not show for the rest of the entire day. So Google's infinite AI wisdom that none of us really have the ability to take a look at will base it off of that person's search history, what they've done, like where they work, all the stuff that it tracks on them of, it makes sense to show this ad to that person because they're a much higher likelihood of clicking and converting, and it'll show that ad, and it spreads that out over a month. So within like in the paid side of things at least, within like a 10 to 15% kind of up or down differential, 1 month might be like a scotch higher, and then the next month will kind of auto correct it. Like over the year, it's not spending more than what you've told it to. In the Google Ad Grant side, you don't need to worry about that near like as much. It'll never like go through that $10,000 within like a week and then, you know, not have any more. Right on. If anybody wants a copy of this presentation, I thought relevant because of the free money, you can text money to 802-865-2000. I'll send you a copy of the presentation, and I have a couple of other tools. If you have any questions after you leave today, feel free to send me a text. And like I said, you're not added to any kind of sales funnel, drip campaign, calling you at dinner type of thing. I just really want to help and answer questions. Yes.
This was mentioned earlier, I think by Jay, this rolling application, right? Just whenever you're ready.
Yep. Yeah, you could do it today or you could do it tomorrow, and I think it lets you save progress too. So I don't think you need to do it in like one session. Nope. They've been running this for, I think, I want to say 10 or 15 years now. It used to be a $30,000 a month campaign, and they sunset that one, and now it's, you know, just $10,000 a month.
How many groups or is it international?
It's international. I do not know. I could find out, but I do not know. Yeah. Right on. Yep.
There's to be a 30,000. If someone signed up earlier, is there potential grandfather benefits for people that had 30,000? They still have 30,000?
Yeah, to my understanding, they do. I haven't run across any of those like in the wild yet, but it's my understanding that they do. Google usually grandfathers stuff to like a limit, but sometimes they just say, nope, we're going to switch it. If any of you have had to do anything with Google Analytics in the past year, there was a shift that was called the universal to G4 conversion. I've never seen more of a keep it PG crap show inside Google Ads and a multi-billion-dollar company and how they handled that, especially if you don't know anything about marketing. But yeah, Google, I'm pretty sure grandfathers those. And same thing with these $10,000 campaigns. If they switch it to like a 5,000, I don't think they are though. It's been like this for a pretty long time. Yes, Jay.
Like for the folks that want DIY themselves, or maybe they want to just get control of the water to start, what would you advise for education learning at the class? I know what I know, just a portion of it that works for me. And I need some of the other tools so powerful that can. Would you give advice to people and say, you know, here's a place, one of these places to go get educated on how to learn how to do a flag, get comfortable back in GA?
Yeah, great question. So the question being, what would I recommend for like the best resources for Google Ads that kind of get started on a DIY? As maybe like low-hanging fruit as this sounds, YouTube. I mean, from back in college, that's where I learned most of my stuff. I learned more from YouTube and online video, and now TikTok. As crazy as even as that sounds, if I say TikTok inside here and like look across the room, I'll see at least half of people like smirking and think, oh, that's just for like people dancing and their cat. It's so much more than that. I used to look at Instagram like that back in like 2008 when I was just Facebook all the time. I thought Instagram was kind of a place where there was just skater kids and people taking pictures of their hot dog lunch. It kind of is still across all of those, but TikTok is that. TikTok's algorithm is amazing for learning and amazing for people with ADHD like me. If you start doing searches inside TikTok's algorithm for things on Google Ads, DIY marketing, it's just going to continue to serve you that type of content. The more stuff you search for, its algorithm is insane. So if you put two people's TikTok accounts next to each other, the content in there will be so vastly different than even like on Instagram and Facebook, where there might be a lot of similarities. which I think is like always telling when there's like certain people in higher political places of like, it's just like a bunch of like scantily clad people dancing around. Well, it's only going to show that to you if that's the type of content that you're liking constantly, not scrolling through and searching for. So TikTok is a really great way to kind of dive into that, and the content is very short. So I've learned so much about AI even in the past 2 years from TikTok and the creators that are on there. There's millions of marketing agencies on there that are just giving out tons of free information in a short form style. So like 15 seconds to 5 minutes. You don't need to every single time do a 1 hour seminar like this. You can start to learn little bits and things to keep up to date. So again, without like going into like other courses, because there's paid things that you can pay for, YouTube, TikTok, do searches for Google ad grants, especially, or even just Google ads management, because a lot of those components are the same in both, just one is real money and one's monopoly money. Right on. All right, that wraps us on up unless there's any last questions. All right, thank you.
Thanks, folks. We'll be hanging around here for a few minutes, so if anybody has any of those, I think the doctor calls them the doorknob questions. There's one question I really wanted to ask when I didn't hear it. We'll be here for that. I will, unless anybody's post this, I'll share with Mike all of your email addresses. That way, or to you folks, that way you have a way to contact Mike if you want to get some other information. So thank you all for coming, and drive safe when you go home. There's a little bit of snow, but not too much. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.